Welcome to Snowflake Butthole. It's all about me. Um, so I've got some cool news this week. I've set up a gig, managed to squeeze myself into a gig off the back of a cancellation with some bands that I really like playing with, and that very the kind of thing that Bittercup would fit right in with. I haven't done a lot of those kinds of gigs where it's like a lineup that Bittercup fits really well in. So I'm really excited about that. It's called 2020 at the Wine Cellar. It's on January the 4th. So it's actually not that far away. But some of the people in it are Glass Shards, who you might remember from last week. I went to his show. You might remember The Mask. So I haven't played a show with him before, but ever since I've heard his stuff, I've wanted to do a show with him. I'm not sure if I mentioned in the last video, he did a great little cover of I'm Afraid of Americans by David Bowie and Trent Reznor. His style is just out there. He dresses up for his shows like me, but he's like an electronic artist, so he's got MIDI synthesizers and old retro equipment and lots of effects and things that he uses. He's really interesting to watch. I'm really looking forward to both getting to go and see him and to be playing on the same bill. But another band, the guys that organised it, On Tick, formerly Evil Tomato, who I've played with once before. I'm not sure why they rebranded to On Tick, because it's the same two guys. Maybe it's a different musical approach, so that'll be interesting to find out when I go and see it, what the difference is. Aiden is the one I've been dealing with most. He's a real good guy, real cool, good valued person. And he's got that enthusiasm. And those guys just love that kind of stuff. They'll be really fun to gig with. And the last band is called Lesbian Death Sluts from Hell, who are like a surf rock punk, small snippets of grunge band. Also really interesting to watch. Last time I saw them, they had like their sort of mascot. I can't even remember. I think it was a native bird of some kind or something, but it just came and danced on the stage with them. So they're really cool to see as well. So you're starting to see the kind of crazy show that it's going to be. We also have a host called Monty Montgomery, I think, a clown dressed in drag, and I often look like either a clown, a drag queen, or both, or some disgusting used combination of the both as well. So I just feel like I fit right in there with that thing. So I'm really stoked about that, about having a gig, because you just sort of take everything. But this is something I would choose if I could afford to be choosy. So really looking forward to that. So this weekend gone, I didn't do a lot of music stuff, but I was quite busy. I went down to Wellington and caught up with some friends of mine who do a podcast called Wired Shut. And occasionally I guest on their podcast. This one was a special one. It was episode 69 the title of the episode is Nice, and it features Bittercup, and the three of us are in one room, whereas usually it's done over comms. So the chemistry with us being in the same room with a few beers is really good. It was really fun for us. It's it's a lot of people listen to the podcast while they're trying to go to sleep, and they complain that we will, or mostly they will suddenly yell out of nowhere or something. So the levels are different. So that's sort of the only thing I could think of to give you an idea of what it's like. There's usually a lot of talking about movies and games in it, but not in this episode. So this is kind of atypical. We talked about Bittercup a little bit, and there was a little keyboard there that I faffed around with across the episode. Nothing interesting. And yeah, so just a little bit about Bittercup, but sort of we got into a lot of Bittercupish kind of topics, some dark conversations, and culminating, of course, in all of our opinions on 69s. So, wiredshutpot.com if you want to check that out. There was another thing. Just this Thursday I did the indie club as well, and it was cool. I turned up a bit early. They moved it from the Dog's Bollocks, where they usually play, which they will no longer be doing, to UFO, where they hold their own shows already. And so it's just more comfortable that way. It's quite out of the way, so no one ever hears about it really or turns up. It's a very well kept secret. I guess that's why it's indie. But I turned up a bit early, and I got to hear lots of stories about different musicians and people that they know and have worked with over the years and things. It was really fascinating. I particularly loved hearing the legends about Mucus Kids, which was a cool band. Not long ago, only less than a decade ago, right up until 2017, I think. Anyway, but that's I saw them once. Also, Hamish Kilgour asked me to send him a song to go in a movie that he's yet to make. It sounded like he's working with someone about it. The story was roughly the devil comes to stay in Auckland and other places, and the structure is based on the 7 deadly sins. So I think the one I'm going to flip to that is the ballroom, because it sort of deals in hedonism and escapism, and it has a creepy sort of sound to it. My first thought was Led Astray by Chemical, because the chorus was hell on earth, rah, 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 rah. But I thought that was probably a bit on the nose, and it's going to be a horror movie, so the creepy notes and the creepy off key in the ballroom should hopefully fit it better. Also, it felt slightly frustrating playing that indie club gig, coming back to playing on my own again after getting a band together and then having it fall apart, and going back to what I was doing in the first half of this year. But I compensated a little bit for that feeling of emptiness with a bit of an effect swirl underneath my playing. It just sat underneath it and gave it sort of a bed of sound that added some interest. But really, I should just um, remind myself that there's a lot to be said for just getting the story out there, getting the lyrics heard, and getting the emotion translated to people. And I'll get another band together. That'll happen. Yeah. So okay. So very busy week, but not all of it music. I'm gonna call that an even five. And that's it. That was all about me and my snowflake mutthole.